I sent out the DA practice problems, oral medications. These are just problems that I kind of threw them together just to go through just extra practice problems for like if I meet with you privately, or if somebody just needs some extra practice work. This is what I've used in the past. So so you all should have a copy of this. I sent it out in an email, and I'm just going to go through and just work out the problems. I think there are 30 on here. Yeah, 30 problems. So we'll just go through and work them. And again, like I said, when you take tests, I know it's confusing because Dosage Calc 360 shows you like 4 different ways of doing things, and even their dimensional analysis looks a little bit different than the ETSU accepted format, which is the way that I do problems, you know, when I'm working with you in class and I show you how to do them. That is the way that you have to do them. I can't stress that enough. So you have to do them right. Your quizzes, your exams, there are tests that, and I can't remember exactly which ones, but some of them, if your problem isn't set up right, or if there are errors in your setup, you know, forgetting to label something or not boxing your answer, that can cause you to miss that entire question. So, I mean, that's just the way it is. You're not going to be able to argue it. So it's got to be set up the way it's got to be set up. So, all right, that being said, we'll go through these. I'm just going to do them just over and over and over. I hope that you've attempted to do these on your own already. That would be probably the way. Actually, these are, oh yeah, I was going to say, I was thinking that I saw an IV, but it's not. It probably would be most beneficial if you work these on your own and then go through and watch this video and compare your answers to how I'm doing it and see, you know, if there's anything that you're doing that you need to tweak. Okay, so let's get started. Got it? Seriously. Okay. Alrighty, so first question. How many tablets would the nurse administer? This is what we're looking for. I'm just going to kind of go step by step. I'm not going to read all these. You guys are capable of reading them. So what I'm looking for here is tabs per dose. So step 1, that's the first thing. And I know we've talked about this, but first thing you have to do is write down what you're looking for. In this case, it's tabs per dose. Step 2, I'm going to look at my numerator and see what do I know about that. So tabs, I know. In this case, I've got 25 milligram tablets. So I'm going to say 1 tab is 25 milligrams. Okay, so we're good with tablets, right? Got tabs. And now I need to get rid of or cancel out that milligrams, because milligrams isn't going to be in my answer, right? So I know that because milligrams is in my denominator, I need milligrams in my numerator in order to cancel it out. And so the next thing I know is what my ordered dose is. So this one's pretty straightforward. I have 50 milligrams per dose. And that cancels out my milligrams, leaves me with dose. And so I can go ahead and do my multiplication. So this is only 2 steps, but it would be 1 times 50 and then divided by 25, which we know is 2 tabs per dose. You always want to box your answer. You know, don't do all this work and then not box your answer and get lose your point for the question because you didn't box your answer. So don't do it. Okay, next one. Let's see, potassium chloride. What do we know? We got 10 milligrams per tablet. We've got an order for 40. How many tablets would we administer? So again, we're looking for tabs per dose. Step one. What do we know about tablets? We know we've got one tablet is 10 milligrams. So we've got tabs, we've got milligrams in the denominator. I need milligrams up here. And what do I know? I know I've got an order for 40 milligrams per dose. And so we're going to multiply and then divide, which would be 40 divided by 10, which is 4 tabs per dose. All right, these won't always be, all of these won't be so simple, but okay. All right, so we have phenytoin. Let's see, 1.1 gram is ordered. We have 30 milligrams in 5, and how much are we going to administer? So I see that I've got milliliters, so my answer is going to be in milliliters per dose. So that's step one, is how much would we administer? Okay, now I'm looking for milliliters per dose. How much is going to, typically it's going to be volume, so look for your volume label. Okay, so milliliters, I'm going to start with that because that's in the numerator. And what do I know about milliliters? Well, I know that in 5 milliliters, I have 30 milligrams. Okay. Now, my next step here, I want to have milligrams up here. So I've got milligrams down there. And how am I going to cancel out milligrams? I don't have anything else that says milligrams in the problem, right? So my ordered dose is in grams. So I know I'm going to have to convert milligrams to grams or vice versa. And I know that 1,000 milligrams is 1 gram. Okay. So that cancels out our milligrams. Next thing I need to do is get rid of that gram, right? So my ordered dose is 0.1 gram per dose equals, and that cancels out my grams. We've got dose down there, and I'm going to say 5 times 1,000 times 0.1 divided by 30. We would say divided by 1. We don't have to do that. So I've got 16.67. Now, I don't have the rounding rules on here, but your rounding rules are going to be if the answer is usually, okay, your rounding rules on exams they're going to be on your test. So, but typically your rounding rule is going to be if sorry, just rereading that. If your answer if it's in milliliters, if your answer is greater than 1, most of the time you're going to round to 10. If it's less than 1, most of the time you're going to round to 100. But again, pay attention to your rounding rules that are on your quizzes and exams, because that counts. You round incorrectly. I know I've told you guys this before, but that's one of the number one things that I've seen, at least, that will cause people to get questions wrong, is not following the rounding rules. So follow the rounding rules. In this case, because it's greater than 1, I'm going to round to 16.7 milliliters per dose. Okay. All right. Next. Okay, so doc orders 1,500 milligrams of liquid ibuprofen. So we know we've got 1,500, that's our dose. And I've got 500 milligrams in 1 cc how much will you administer? Now, if you remember, 1 cc is the same as 1 milliliter. We discourage using cc's now, especially when they're written out, like handwritten. Cc can be confused for other units, but I know that a cc is a milliliter. So how much will I administer? So I'm going to say, all right, well, I'm looking for milliliters per dose. And what do I know about milliliters? I know that in 1 milliliter, because cc is the same as a milliliter, I've got 500 milligrams. So I've got my milliliters. I need to get rid of that milligrams. So I'm going to put that up there. And I have an order for 1,500 milligrams per dose. So that cancels out my milligrams. I've got milliliters and dose left. And I'm going to multiply across the top, divide across the bottom, which in this case will just be 1,500 divided by 500 equals 3 milliliters per dose. Okay, next. Let's see. So we've got nafcillin. That's our order. And here's what we've got available. How many tablets are we going to administer? Now I've got a rounding rule on this one. Round to the nearest half or whole tablet. So important to pay attention to that. So I'm going to say I'm looking for tablets per dose. So how many tabs we administer? And what do I know about tablets? I know that I've got in 1 tablet, I have 1 gram. So I've got my tablets. I need to get rid of that gram. So let's see, what do I know? That's the only mention of grams. My dose is written in milligrams, so I know I need to convert. And I know that, oops, my bad. There we go. I know that 1 gram is 1,000 milligrams. Now you'll notice somebody in class asked today, how do you know what to put on the top and how do you know what to put on the bottom? Well, in this case, this one's backwards from what you've seen in some other questions, because what you might have noticed in some other ones is you saw 1,000 milligrams over 1 gram. Same thing. This isn't like a fraction. It's just an equivalent thing. Like 1 gram is equal to 1,000 milligrams, just the same as 1,000 milligrams is equal to 1 gram. So 1 gram is 1,000 milligrams. That cancels out my grams. Next thing I need to do is get rid of this milligram label. And I know that I've got an order for 500 milligrams per dose. And that gets rid of our milligrams. We've got tabs over dose is what's left. Nothing else left hanging out there. And we are going to say 500 divided by 1,000 equals 0.5. And if I look at my rounding rules, okay, let's see, round to the nearest half or whole tablet. Okay, I'm good. 0.5 tabs per dose. All right. Okay, next one. Let's see. We've got Synthroid. This is what I have ordered. And this is what I have available. How many tabs will I give? And round to the nearest half or whole tablet. So I'm looking for tabs per dose. So I'm going to start with my numerator. Tablets, what do I know? I know I've got 0.15 milligram tablets. So 1 tablet is 0.15 milligrams. Okay, so I've got my tabs. I need to get rid of milligrams, so that's going to go up here. And my dose is in micrograms, so again, I'm going to have to convert, and I know that 1 milligram equals 1,000 micrograms, right? Our milligrams now cancel out. Next thing I need to do is get rid of that micrograms. So my order is for micrograms, and I know that I've got 75 micrograms per dose. So that cancels out my mics. I've got tabs per dose left, nothing else hanging out. And we've got 75 divided by 0.15 divided by 1,000 equals 0.5. And I'm going to round to the nearest half or whole. We've got half here, so 0.5 tabs per dose. Okay. I think I will, we're really working on DA with this video, so I think I'm going to skip past the I&O questions here. You guys did pretty well on those. If you have any I&O questions, let me know, and we can go through some stuff. But you guys, for the most part, you guys did really well on that. So, okay, next. Oh, I was thinking these were all oral, but this one's not. Okay, so that's good, actually. Okay, so heparin, here's our dose. And here's what we have supplied, 1,000 units per milliliter. How many milliliters will we give? And we're going to round to the nearest milliliter. So I want to know how many milliliters per dose, step one there. And milliliters, what do I know about milliliters? I know that in 1 ml, I have 10,000 units. Now remember, when you're doing quizzes and tests, units has to be written out. That'll be another thing that you have to make sure you do. Okay. So I've got my milliliters. I need to get rid of units. And I've got an order for 7,855 units per dose. So 7,855 divided by 10,000 equals. Now this says round to nearest milliliters. So when I did the math here, I come up with that. So I'm going to round to the nearest milliliter. So I'm going to say 0.7855 equals 1 milliliter per dose. Sure if we've had any that were like that before or not, but you'll have them again if we haven't had them already. I can't really remember, but anyway, so that's it for that one. I'm so used to asking you guys if you have any questions after I do these, so it's lonely being by myself here. I'm just kidding. Okay, amoxicillin 0.25 grams, and here are our tablets. How many tablets will the nurse give per dose? Okay, so I'm looking at tablets per dose. I'm going to start with tabs. What do I know? I know that 1 tablet is 125 milligrams. Next thing, what do I want to do next? Get rid of the milligrams, right? So I'm going to put milligrams up there. And my dose is in grams. All right, so I have to convert. No big deal, right? 1,000 milligrams is the same as 1 gram. So my milligrams cancel out. Next thing I need to do is get rid of that grams. And what do I know? I've got a dose of 0.25 grams per dose. And we'll do our math here. 1,000 times 0.25 divided by 125 equals 2 tabs per dose. No, I forgot to cross those out. Grams, dose, there we go. 2 tablets per dose. Now, when you're doing your problems. One thing that I do is do the, you know, circling of the things that are labeled, like this one and this one. So I circle those. I cross these things out. I circle these to make sure that I've gotten what I'm looking for, and I cross those out to make sure everything's crossed out. And so then I know there's nothing that's not covered. There's nothing that's not spoken for. I've got what I need for my answer, and I don't have anything left over that doesn't belong. When you are testing and writing your problems out, you don't have to do those circles or those crossing out. That just makes it easier, I think. The one symbol type thing that you do have to do is that box. So you have to box. But you don't have to do the circles and the crosses. But again, I think it makes it easier. Okay. So Fran, I've got 10 milligram or 8 milligram doses. I have a 100 milliliter bottle labeled 4 milligrams per teaspoon. Okay, how many milliliters? So I want to know milliliters per dose. Now, do I really care how big the bottle is? Do I need that information in order to figure this out? No, I don't. I need to know my dose, and I need to know the available concentration. I mean, you know, whether it's so many milligrams per tablet for a tablet or a capsule, or in this case, what is my concentration of this liquid medication? So my concentration is this 4 milligrams per teaspoon. I don't care how big that bottle is. I don't care if it's a 25 milliliter bottle. I don't care if it's 1,000 milliliter bottle, which would be a giant bottle. But anyway, so this is what I was saying. Like if I were to do this as a written test, this I would probably just make a little line through. Got it? Come on now. I would make a little line through this. Like, okay, I can kind of ignore that, I think. Okay, so I want to know milliliters per dose. What do I know about milliliters? Well, gosh, I don't know, because the only milliliter that's on here is the size of the bottle, which I don't care about. My concentration is in teaspoons, so I guess what I'm going to have to do is convert from milliliters to teaspoons. That's the only way I'm going to be able to figure that out, right? So I know that 5 mLs is 1 teaspoon. Okay, so I've got milliliters. I want to keep milliliters. I don't want to get rid of that, because the question asks how many milliliters will the nurse administer. So my next step in this case would be getting rid of that teaspoons. But what do I know about teaspoons? I know that 1 teaspoon contains 4 milligrams. Okay, so my teaspoons are canceled out. Next thing I need to know is, how do I get rid of these milligrams? Well, my dose is for 8 milligrams. So I know that 8 milligrams is in 1 dose. Milligrams cancel out. And just like magic, we're left with milliliters per dose. So do the math across. 5 times 1 times 8 divided by 4 equals 10. So I know that I'm giving 10 mLs per dose. Now this problem could have been written differently. It could have been written as the concentration of, you know, X number of milligrams per milliliter, and how many teaspoons will the nurse administer. So same thing, you just figure it out, just doing the one step at a time, and you get to what you need by the end. And the more you do these, the more you can practice these, the easier it will be, I promise. Okay, so we have an order for Tylenol, 160 milligrams. Every 6 hours, we've got 80 milligrams per milliliter. How many mLs will we administer per dose? So we're looking for milliliters per dose. So we'll start with milliliters. We know that in 1 ml, we have 80 milligrams. Need to get rid of that milligrams. We have an order for 160 milligrams per dose. Milligrams cancels out. We're left with milliliters dose, and 160 divided by 80. Don't even need a calculator for that one. We are left with 2 mLs per dose. All right, pretty straightforward there. Okay, Mucomist, 300 milligrams by mouth, 1 dose before heart cath. Totally extraneous information. We have 300 milligram dose. We have 600 milligrams in 2 mLs per pharmacy. How many milliliters will we give per dose? So again, milliliters per dose. And what do we know about milliliters? I know that in 2 mLs, so pay attention to that, what your concentration is. I've got 600 milligrams. Now you might look at this and say, well, I can do the math in my head and I know that's 300 milligrams per 1 ml. Why don't I just write that here? If that's not in your problem, don't do anything that requires math in your head. So don't think that you can convert that to 300 in 1, even though I know it might seem obvious, but don't do it, because that would be eliminating a step. And if there's a step you need to do, your step has to be in your problem. So make sure you don't make that mistake. I have had people do that before as well, and miss out on points because of it, because you have to do every step on paper or whatever the case may be. Oop. Okay. Alrighty, so I've got my milliliters and I need to get rid of milligrams. My order is for 300 milligrams per dose. So I'm going to say 2 times 300 divided by 600 equals 1 ml per dose. All right. All right. Y'all with me? Okay. Okie dokie. Lactulose. We have a 20 milligram or a 20 gram dose. We have 10 grams and 15 mLs. And how many milliliters per dose? So milliliters per dose. And I know in 15 mLs, I have 10 grams. And need to get rid of that grams. My dose is for 20 grams per dose. Cancels out, got what we need. 15 times 20 divided by 10 equals 30. 30 mLs per dose. Now again, you might look at that question and you go, well, if I got 10 grams and 15 milliliters and I need to give 20, well, I just double that. I know I'm going to give 30, right? I mean, I don't have to write this out. I can figure that one out in my head. Don't do it. It's got to be written out. It's got to be written out in exactly the right format. So don't do anything in your head, even though you might be able to, but don't do it. Okay. So we have Lortab elixir, 5 milligrams every 4 hours. So we've got 7.5 milligrams and 15 mLs. How many tablespoons will we administer per dose? And we've got a rounding rule here, round to the nearest tablespoon. So I want to know tablespoon per dose. All right, what do I know about tablespoons? There's nothing about tablespoons in there, so I'm going to have to convert. I know that 1 tablespoon is 15 milliliters. Okay, I know that because I know all my conversions, right? What'd you guys do? You guys totally rocked your conversions. Y'all got every single one of them right, so that was awesome. Okay, so I know that 1 tablespoon is 15 milliliters. Now I need to get rid of milliliters. What do I know about milliliters? Well, I know that 15 mLs contains 7.5 milligrams. So that gets rid of my milliliters. Now I need to get rid of that milligrams. Well, I have an ordered dose of 5 milligrams per dose. So that cancels out our milligrams. That leaves us with tablespoons per dose. Well, that just happens to be what my question was asking for. So we'll multiply 15 times 5 divided by 15 divided by 7.5 equals 0.67. My rounding rule says round to the nearest tablespoon. So I'm going to say 1 tablespoon per dose. Okay. Alrighty, next. We have an order for 100 milligrams of Robitussin. We've got 105 mLs. How many teaspoons will we administer per dose? So I want teaspoons per dose. That's what the question's asking for. That's always going to be step number 1. What is it asking for? What do I need to figure out here? Teaspoons. Okay, well, my concentration is in milliliters, so I'm going to have to convert. I know that 1 teaspoon is 5 mLs, right? I know you guys know that. Okay, so I need to get rid of that milliliters. I know that 5 mLs contains 100 milligrams. That cancels out my milliliters. And milligrams, I need to get rid of that. My ordered dose is for 100 milligrams per dose. Okay. I got teaspoons per dose. Everything cancels out. So I'm going to say 5 times 100 divided by 5 divided by 100 equals 1 teaspoon per dose. Again, this is the kind of question that I might be able to eyeball. I might say, well, I know that 5 mLs is a teaspoon, and if there's 100 milligrams in 5 mLs, then I know it's going to be 1 teaspoon. I mean, I could figure out the answer without writing all this stuff out. Don't do it. Got to be written out, and it's got to be written out correctly. I'm sorry. I know it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse, but you guys have to know this. You have to do it. I told you. Y'all are going to be my dimensional analysis rock stars by the end of the semester here. Okay, so we have a dose of 15 milligrams. This is what pharmacy gave us. How many milliliters are we going to administer per dose? And we're going to round to the nearest half or whole milliliter. So we have a rounding rule on this one too. Okay, so I'm looking at milliliters per dose. Sorry, I just had this sudden fear that I forgot to hit the record button. Oh, please don't let it be so. Okay, we're all good. Okay, so milliliters per dose is what we're looking for, sorry. And what do I know about milliliters? Well, I know that in 3 mLs, we've got 30 milligrams, right? That's our concentration. So I've got my milliliters. Need to get rid of that milligrams. What do I know about milligrams? Well, that is what my dose is written in. I've got 15 milligrams per dose. Okay, so we have 3 times 15 divided by 30 equals 1.5, and my rounding rule says what? Round to the nearest half or whole milliliter. So I'm already at the half. I don't need to round it. So I've got 1.5 milliliters per dose. All right. Okay, number 18. Nystatin oral suspension. So here's our ordered dose, 250,000 units. Pharmacy sent us 505. So we're looking for milliliters per dose, round to the nearest half or whole milliliter. So milliliters per dose. What do I know about milliliters? I know that in 5 mLs, I have 500,000 units. I know that's a lot to write out, but you'll have them like this, and that's just the way it is. You'll even have up into the millions on some questions. All right, so I need to get rid of units, and my order is for 250,000 units. Cancels out our units per dose. All right, so this is pretty straightforward. So we've got 5 times 250,000 divided by 500,000 equals 2.5. Look at my rounding rule, round to the nearest half or whole, so we're good there. 2.5 milliliters per dose. All right. Okie doke. Number 19. We have a GI cocktail. That's a kind of a mix of drugs that we use for people who have GI upset. Kind of rules out sometimes, just to put it simply, kind of like is something cardiac or is something stomach. You give somebody a GI cocktail and their pain goes away. Okay, it's probably their stomach. Just kind of in a nutshell, but all right. Our dose is 150 milligrams by mouth. This is what pharmacy gave us, and how many milliliters will I administer daily? So note that this one says daily, and our order is for every 6 hours, right? So we got one more step added in here. So I want to know milliliters per day. All right. So I'm going to start with milliliters. What do I know about milliliters? I know that 3 mLs is 75 milligrams. And so I've got my milliliters. Next thing I need to do is I just going to do one step at a time here, and I'm not going to get overwhelmed with how much information I do or don't need in this question. I'm just going to go to milligrams, and I know that I've got 150 milligrams every 6 hours. So one extra little step here. So 6 hours, I need to get rid of hours next. I know that there are 24 hours in a day. So my hours cancel out. And I've got day, milliliters, day. Everything else is canceled out. So I can do my math. 3 times 150 times 24 divided by 75 divided by 6 equals 24 milliliters per day. Now, if you do a question like this and say you look at it and you're like, I don't know if that's right or not. I think it's right, but I'm not really sure. You know, you can double check yourself in other ways. You know, if you figure out, okay, I've got 150 milligrams every 6 hours. So if it's every 6 hours, that means I'm going to have 4 doses in a day, right? Because 6 times 4 is 24. So I know I'm going to have 4 doses. So if I took 4 doses times 150 milligrams, then I could figure out my total number of milligrams a day and figure out how many milliliters that way, just as a way to double check it. But when you're writing out your writing out your work, writing out your problem, do it the way I showed you here. You know, there's always, you know, those different ways you might look at things, different ways of doing math. You know, use those to check your work if you need to, if you want to, but don't, I mean, just write your problem out like I'm showing you. Okay. I hope that's not confusing. I'm trying to make it easier for you, not harder. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. We have 75 milligrams once a day. Pharmacy gave us this. How many milliliters per dose? Round in the nearest half. Okay. So I want milliliters per dose. Start with milliliters. I know that in 2 mLs, I've got 20 milligrams. So I've got my milliliters. Let's get rid of milligrams. And I've got 75 milligrams per dose. Okay, milliliter or milligrams canceled out. I've got dose. I'm left with milliliters per dose. And so we have 2 times 75. Oops. 2 times 75 divided by 20 equals 7.5. And my rounding rule says half or whole. So 7.5 is rounded to the half already. Well, I don't need to round it, but it's on the half already. 7.5 milliliters per dose. All right. 21. We have 100 milligrams. And that's our dose per day. Pharmacy dispenses you with 40 milligrams per ml. So we're looking for milliliters per dose, round to the half or whole. Okay. Same thing. What do I know about milliliters? I know that in 1 ml, I've got 40 milligrams. So I've got my milliliters. Let's go to milligrams next. My ordered dose is 100 milligrams per dose. Milligrams cancels out. I'm left with milliliters per dose. So we're good to go. So I've got 100 divided by 40 equals 2.5. Look at my rounding rule. Okay, nearest half. All right, I'm good. 2.5 mLs per dose. Okay, 22. Digoxin elixir, 250 micrograms per mouth daily. And we've got a pulse thrown in here. That's irrelevant information. I mean, it's not irrelevant in real life, but it's irrelevant to figuring out the answer to the problem. Okay, I don't need that information. Pharmacy gave me this. That's my provided dose. How many milliliters am I going to give? Round to the nearest half or whole. So milliliters per dose. Milliliters, I've got 2 mLs is 0.5 milligrams. There we go. So I need to get rid of milligrams, and well, my order is in micrograms, not in milligrams, so I'm going to have to convert. But I know that 1 milligram is 1,000 micrograms. Oops. So that can't, why is that doing that? That canceled that out. Micrograms, I'm going to go to Mike's next. My order is for 250 micrograms per dose. So that cancels out my micrograms. I'm left with dose. Everything else is canceled out. I've got milliliters, I've got dose. That's what I'm looking for. So we'll say 2 times 250 divided by 0.5 divided by 1,000 equals 1 ml per dose. Okay. Pretty straightforward there. All right. Carfate, 2 grams by mouth 3 times a day. So 3 times a day. This is what pharmacy gave us. And the question is asking for milliliters per day. So I've got 2 grams 3 times a day. How much am I going to give total per day? Round to the nearest half or whole. So I want to know milliliters per day. Start out with milliliters. What do I know? I know I have 2.5 mLs. It's 500 milligrams. And milligrams, I need to get rid of that. Well, my order is for grams. So I know that 1 gram, oops, sorry, back it up. There we go. I know that 1,000 milligrams, because I want milligrams up here, right, is 1 gram. And I need to get rid of grams. And so I have 2 grams. And 3 times a day would be every 8 hours. So 8 times 3 is 24, right? And there's 24 hours in a day. Get rid of grams. I need to get rid of hours next. I know that 24 hours is 1 day. Hours, day is what I'm looking for in my, that's got to be in my answer. So let's see, I don't have anything hanging out here. I'm left with milliliters per day. So I can do my math here. 2.5 times, oops, 2.5 times 1,000 times 2 times 24 divided by 500 divided by 8 equals 30. So I have 30 mLs per day. So 30 mLs per day. If I just were to eyeball this and I want to double check my work, do I think that's right? I could look at this and go, okay, I'm giving 2 grams 3 times a day, so my total should be 6 grams, right? So 30 mLs, is that 6 grams? That I can look at by looking at that concentration and figure it out. You know, I could even take, so if I'm giving 6 grams and I know it's 500 milligrams per dose, or sorry, per 2.5 mLs. I mean, I could rework that, figure it out another way, and make sure that, you know, just double check my work and make sure that I think that's right. Okay, so we have Dilantin 100 milligrams by mouth daily. We've got 0.5 gram per cap. How many capsules per dose? Now, per dose is going to be per day per dose. It's the same thing because there's only 1 dose per day. So I want to know caps per dose. I'm going to start with caps, and what do I know? I know that in 1 capsule, we've got 0.5 grams. Got my caps. And what do I know about grams? Well, my dose is in milligrams, so I'm going to have to convert. I know that 1 gram is 1,000 milligrams. And I know I'm converting from grams to milligrams because my order is written in milligrams, so I've got to get to milligrams. All right, so my grams cancel out. Next thing I need to address is milligrams. And I know I've got 100 milligrams. by mouth daily, and we've only got 1 dose per day, so it's 100 milligrams per dose. And that leaves us with caps per dose. And if I do my math, I've got 1 times 1 times 100, so I've got 100 divided by 0.5 divided by 1,000 equals 0.2. Well, this is a bad question. You're not going to have 0.2 capsules. If we had a capsule, typically a capsule question will have a rounding rule. So you might round to the nearest whole. This isn't a good question because we should have had, let me just double check my math here. That's 100 milligrams per dose. Yep, 100 divided by 0.5 divided by 1,000 equals, yeah. All right, sorry, bad question. Well, just to do the math, that would be the right answer, but obviously for a capsule, you're not going to have that. You're not going to have 0.2 capsules because remember, we can't split a capsule. Typically, capsules will say round to the nearest whole. If I got this order, I guess if I got this order in actual practice and figured this math, I would be like, okay, this is wrong. So maybe my doc meant to order 1,000 milligrams daily. Maybe they wrote that wrong because this doesn't make any sense. So I will change that. That's not a good one. But does give you a good idea of sometimes you do have orders that are incorrect. And if we see an order that doesn't look right, then we question it. I mean, that's part of our job as nurses. It's our responsibility as the person administering medication to make sure that what we're giving is correct. So you see an order like that that's obviously not right, you question it. Okay, so we have Xanax 2 milligrams by mouth daily. We have 1 milligram per tablet. How many tablets per dose? Back to a nice straightforward here. Tablets, we know that 1 tablet is 1 milligram. Got our tabs. We know that we've got 2 milligrams per dose. Per day, make sure I'm not missing anything there. Okay, milligrams cancel out, and 2 divided by 1 is 2. We have 2 tablets per dose. Didn't even have to use a calculator for that one. Okay, Zovirax, 550 milligrams every 8 hours. Pharmacy gives us 150 milligram tablets. And how many tablets do I administer per dose? We're going to round to the nearest whole tablet. Okay, so I want to know tabs per dose. So our order is written 550 milligrams every 8 hours. So it's 550 milligrams per dose. That's our dose amount. And 150 milligram tablets, how many tablets per dose? So this 8 hours, we don't actually need that information to figure out the answer to this question, because what we're given is what the question's asking for. So I know that in 1 tablet, I have 150 milligrams. So I've got my tabs there. And I need to get rid of that milligrams. My order is for 550 milligrams per dose. Milligrams cancels out. I'm left with tabs per dose. And I have 550 divided by 150 equals 3.67 we're going to round to the nearest whole tablet. So that will be 4 tablets per dose. All right. We're getting there. 4 more questions. All right. Side attack 0.1 gram daily is what's ordered. Pharmacy gives us 100 milligram tablets. So how many tablets per dose? So step 1, tablets per dose. What are we looking for here? I know that in 1 tablet, I've got 100 milligrams. Let's get rid of that milligrams. I know that, well, shoot, my order's in grams. I'm going to have to convert. So I know that 1,000 milligrams is 1 gram. Milligrams got canceled out there, and I can go to grams next. Then I've got 0.1 gram per dose. Grams canceled out. Doses left. Let's do our math here. So 1,000 times 0.1 divided by 100 equals 1 tablet per dose. Okay. Ooh, that disappeared. That's weird. All right. All right, next we've got Cardizem, 150 milligrams BID. Remember, that's twice a day. Pharmacy gave us 2.5 gram capsules. How many capsules per dose? And round to the nearest whole capsule. Well, question's asking for capsules per dose, and my order is 150 milligrams per dose twice a day. So I don't need to put that BID into my answer at all. So I'm looking at caps per dose. I know that each capsule is 2.5 grams. My order's written in milligrams, so I'm going to have to convert. And I'm converting grams to milligrams because that's what my that's what my order's written in. So I know that 1 gram is 1,000 milligrams. My grams cancel out. I know that I've got 150 milligrams per dose. Okay, so we have 150 divided by 2.5 divided by 1,000 equals 0.06. Caps per dose. Now I'm like, wow, that's not right. That's crazy. I'm not going to give 6 1/100ths of a capsule per dose. I think this doc ordered this wrong. For sure. So, what's your answer? Well, my answer is 0.06. I forgot to look at my rounding rule. So round to the nearest whole. Well, that would be 0, right? I'm going to give 0 caps per dose. And I'm going to call the doc. Say, hey, you wrote this wrong. Give me a good order here. All right. Okay, so we have allopurinol, 200 milligrams by mouth daily. We've got 0.5 gram scored tablets. How many tablets are we going to give per dose? And we're going to round to the nearest half or whole. So I'm looking for tablets per dose. Start out with tabs. What do I know? I know that, let's do that. I know that one tablet is 0.5 grams. So I need to get rid of my grams next. Got tablets covered there. My order's in milligrams, so I know I'm going to have to convert grams to milligrams. So 1 gram is 1,000 milligrams. Grams canceled out. We'll go to milligrams next, and my order is for 200 milligrams daily, and it looks like there's only 1 dose per day, so that's my dose, 200 milligrams per dose. Milligrams canceled out. I'm left with tablets per dose. So I've got 200 divided by 0.5 divided by 1,000. That gives us 0.4. My rounding rule is round to the nearest half or whole. So we're going to give 0.5 tablets per dose. All right. Last but not least, let's see how this one is. All right, our order is for 80 milligrams BID. We've got 0.025 capsules, gram capsules. How many capsules per dose? Round to the nearest whole capsule. Okay, so we're looking for capsules per dose. And what do I know about capsules? Well, I know that 1 capsule contains 0.025 grams. Got my caps, I need to get rid of grams. And I see my orders in milligrams. So again, I'm going to have to convert grams to milligrams. 1 gram is 1,000 milligrams. Grams cancels out. Go to milligrams next. 80 milligrams per dose is what our order is for. So milligrams canceled out. I've got dose there, so I'm left with caps per dose. So I have 80 divided by 0.025 divided by 1,000 equals 3.2. I have to pay attention to my rounding rules, round to the nearest whole capsule. So my answer is going to be 3 caps per dose. Alrighty. Okay, so that's it for this worksheet. I will, I'll work on doing some more of these for you guys. So we'll I'll give you as much help with this stuff as I possibly can. I think the more you work these things over and over and over again, the more sense it makes. So I hope this helped. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I will see you when I see you.